For this video today, we're going to be doing a stiletto nail with just a soft blue glitter fade and some little swirls to finish it all off. So we're going to be starting with our Akzentz forms. And we're just going to take the little button from the center, and this is going to go right on the back of the form because this gives us extra support when we're building any length on the nail. We're just going to roll the form a little bit back and forth to create a nice curve. Now before I put on a stiletto form, I always like to pinch the end first. And there's this wonderful line that runs down the center of the form. That is your guideline for a nice straight point. When you're building a true stiletto nail, you want to make sure you've got that nice sharp end to your form, always. And because our Pro Tab forms have this extra flap, fold this over and make sure that you push really hard to keep that form together. And because we're working on a practice hand today, it's not as perfect as a real finger. So this form is not going to fit exactly as it should on a real hand. So we're going to open that up and pop this on. Now when you're doing a stiletto nail too, especially, you want to make sure that your line is perfectly straight from the center of your nail all the way down your form. If you've got a form that's crooked a little bit either way, your perfectly awesome stiletto nail is going to be crooked. So when you're happy with where your form is sitting, double check, triple check, go ahead and secure the form on the nail. And this isn't typical to fold this over, but because I am working on this practice hand, that's how we have to keep it on there today. Okay. So I'm going to start with a very thin layer of Enhance to build out my length first. And I'm just going to bring this all the way around here. Make sure that you cap in the free edge of the nail and go a little bit up on the natural nail, just a little bit. And because you've made this shape with the form, your form will be your guide basically for where your brush needs to go. And just follow this V shape. And this layer does not need to be thick. This can be a very thin layer of gel. All we're doing is building an extension so we can get our shape, and we're also going to give this a pinch as well. So if you have it too thick, you're going to add too much bulk right away, and you're not going to be able to get a nice, good pinch to get the shape that you want. Now with our LED Proformance gels, we can give this just a few seconds cure in our LED light. So let's do that right now. And now we'll pinch this to get the shape that we need. So when you're pinching a stiletto, I like to start right at the nail, and we're just going to work our way down. And I just kind of glide my pinchers down because that will make sure that we get a nice even shape all the way down. That way you're not going to get a pinch spot and a spot that's a little bit bulky and a little bit out of whack. This will ensure that you get a nice even shape all the way down. Just like that. And I'm just going to do this a few more times. I want to make sure that my nail has got a nice tight shape to it. Stiletto's nails do need to have a good point to them. You don't want them to be too wide or too splayed out. Otherwise they just really don't look good. There, that's getting to be exactly what I want. So now that we're happy with our shape, we're going to go ahead and cure this again in the UV light. I like to give this the full 30 seconds just to make sure the gel stays exactly where I need it to. Okay, so let's cure this for 30 seconds. All right, so now we're going to cover the nail bed, and I'm going to use some of this custom mixed cover pink that we made in our previous video to do this nail. So if you're not sure how to custom mix your colors for a cover pink, you can definitely check that video out. And make sure that you're covering your whole entire nail. You're getting all the way to the cuticle, the sidewalls, and the free edge. And because this is a cover pink, I'm just going to extend the nail bed a little bit more here and create a nicer shape. And we're going to freeze cure this for just about 3 seconds. I'm going to go over this with just a little bit more and smooth out that nail bed a tiny bit, because we can still see a little bit of that nail through this. We're going to make sure all our highs and lows are gone. And you can see as I'm working this product too, my brush is never really leaving the gel. It's just kind of floating it along. Instead of picking it up and putting it down, I'm sort of moving the gel around and gliding it. Now when you get to the free edge of your nail, you want to make sure that you have a nice definite line of color here. You want to make sure it's nice and tidy and the color is not running around. So when we're going to go back in and file this edge and sharpen it up, you don't have a lot of excess work to do. Perfect. And we're going to give this a full 30-second cure. So before we continue on to building our design on our free edge, I'm going to wipe this off, the tacky layer, and I'm just going to crisp up that little bit of free edge we have here. can see we've created a little ridge here by filing. So when we go in with our color, it's going to stop right here, and we have this wonderful wall that's going to stop it from running into everything else. So let's get rid of the dust that's on here, because we don't want that. So today, to create our free edge, I'm going to use a little bit of our Options Glacier Blue Pastel, and then I'm just going to use some really pretty blue loose glitters as well. So I'm going to use our 111 gel brush, and it has this nice point to it. And all I'm going to do is just bring my color right in, tuck it in on the sides, and I'm just going to use the tip of my brush and drag my product around. And because this is a fade, this doesn't need to be a perfect application up here. We're just going to pull this up a little bit. I'm going to clean my brush and just go back and tidy this up a little tiny bit in here. Okay, and we're going to freeze cure this for about 5 seconds in our LED light. Now I'm going to take a little bit of our Proformance Enhance Gel, which is our thin viscosity gel, and I'm going to put a little bit of this on the rest of the free edge, all the way to the end of the form. Don't forget to put your product all the way to the end. And we're going to put our glitter in there. And just pat this in the gel, work it around wherever you need it to go. And this will get a 30-second cure in the LED light. So now we have to cap all of this in so we can file it and shape it properly. I'm going to use our Proformance Balance just in clear. And we're going to just start right where our pink meets the blue. And start pulling our gel over the glitter. Now when I'm doing stilettos like this, I'll usually do this in a couple stages. It's really hard to get your shape perfect bang on right away. So I'll move my gel around where I need it to go, and then we'll freeze cure this, and then I'll come back and do this maybe 2 or 3 times just so I have the right shape. Okay, and we'll do a freeze cure on that. And when you're doing this, make sure you look at your nail from all sides. As you can see, we have a low spot right here. So let's fill this in. Okay, we'll give this a freeze cure again, and then we'll come back and double check it. Okay, so let's check our angles on our nail here. Just a few tiny little low spots. So I'm just going to touch those up again once more. And again, keep turning your client's hand, keep turning your head. Check from every possible angle that you can. And make sure that you've got everything exactly where you need it to be. There, that's much better. So now we're going to give this a full 30-second cure in our LED light. If you're using a UV lamp, this will take the full 2 minutes. So when you're taking your form off your stiletto, pinch the sides and pull down. Okay. Now I know some of you guys do get a little confused when it comes to filing a stiletto nail. So let's go over how to file this and shape this properly. So when I'm doing a stiletto, I always start with the sides first. And clean up the little bit of jagged gel that's there. And what you want to do too, look this way on your nail. Look underneath, and you can see we've got one side that's a little bit lower than the other. So I'm going to take my file, and I'm going to file this way. We're going to file straight up. Because we want to bring that one side up to the other. But when you're filing this way, make sure your file is perfectly straight. If you've got your file on an angle this way or an angle that way, your whole entire structure of the nail is going to turn out crooked. And always move around. Always check your sides, check your top, make sure that you're not losing your shape. So once you're happy with how the underneath looks for now, we're going to start our same filing that we do for every shape of your nail. So just tighten up your edges again, make sure you have a nice strong point, and start going around your cuticle. When you're filing a stiletto, I sort of keep my file moving this way and this way, especially when you get to the point. So you're creating a shape that's round at the cuticle, but has a nice arch and angle towards the point. see how the shape of that is coming together really nicely. Just a little bit more filing to do. Okay, so we need to go in and just tighten up the bottom here again a little bit. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. That's a good shape. We have a nice solid point to the nail. I think I'm just going to take a little bit more right here. When you're filing a stiletto, it's all about checking and rechecking and then rechecking again. Make sure that your shape is perfect. You have all nice soft edges. You don't want anything to be sharp or sticking out. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of decoration on this and fancy it up a little tiny bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit of white details to this nail. And to do that, I'm going to use our gel play paint in white. And I always use a little tiny brush, small, 00. They're my favorite to work with, especially when you're going to be doing fine lines. So we're just going to put a little bit of product on our brush. And because my bristles were kind of all over the place, we're just going to train it back into a shape that's workable. I'm just using a very, very light pressure on my brush, nothing heavy. We don't want our lines to be too thick. So now for these, I'm just putting a little bit more pressure right at the top and then lifting as I get to the bottom. I'm just going to finish this off. I'm going to put a few more little swirls down the side of the nail. And one more just at the bottom. Okay, so now this will get a 30-second cure again in the LED light and 2 minutes in a UV. I'm just going to finish off my nail with Shine On. And we'll cure this same way, 30 seconds or 2 minutes. Okay, so here we have our finished stiletto nail, and we've got our custom blended cover pink on there and a little bit of fun details for you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned a little bit at the same time. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.